Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. I do hope you are doing well and delivering results with you and your team working hard this year, as every year, obviously. As you can see, we are back on a video cast. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to use the video casts more and use YouTube, as it's a great way to get my message over to as many people as I can. And of course, that's where you guys come in. Subscribe, like, share, comment if you can on wherever you're getting this. And if you're listening as a podcast, do the same. Now, what I would like to do at this moment is do a little bit of advertising. I'd like to point you towards a brand new podcast, which is launching in January 2025. It's a show that will help you to develop your skills in lean business improvement techniques. And it's called Lean Business Improvement Show. The show is focused on improving businesses, removing waste, looking at helping the customer deliver what they need. And obviously, as ever, the show notes will be before in the bottom of this, as ever. And of course, you can always search up Lean Business Improvement Show wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Now, back to the Manager Matt podcast show. I'd like to just let you know what this was designed for. This show is designed to improve your leadership and management skills with practical advice. As you may or may not know, I'm Matthew Haddock, a leader with more than 25 years' experience of leading people within numerous businesses. And that's really what it all comes down to, is the fact is that this is a show that allows you to hopefully get down to some real nuts and bolts information that can help drive your business forward or your career forward. If you're a middle manager, a new manager, a senior manager, everything on this show is there to help you. Now, this week's show is around this idea of bouncing back from adversity. There's lots that goes in our world. Let's face it, we have good times, we have bad times. That's in business and in our private life. In general, there will be a non-linear path in your life. You think everything's on track financially, for instance. You think you've got it covered, you've got enough savings behind you, you've got your investments sorted, and all of a sudden there's a downturn in your markets and you lose money. Might not be a big deal if you're looking at longer term, but you were just planning to cash that in and go on a nice holiday, and that gets ruined. Your car breaks down or costs you more to repair than you first thought. That bill drops in that you weren't expecting. Life throws you things. Now, that's the practical things. Emotionally, we have our ups and downs. Sometimes you go to work and you have crappy days, or weeks, or months, especially, if your boss or your peers are playing some silly games, some politics going on. You've got all this pressure going on. And then you come home and the kids are playing up, or your mother-in-law's ill, or something's not happening. And you find yourself in this chaos of life. You feel to yourself, what is going on? Is there really any opportunity here to get out of it? First thing you've got to do is, yes, there's going to be chaos. So the first thing you need to do is accept that there is going to be chaos. There is going to be cards that's going to be dealt, and you're going to get crap cards. That's the nature. It's what you do with the cards that makes the difference, not the cards that you're being dealt. But how do you bounce back? How do you go from chaos of feeling everything is too much to actually getting back to a level playing field and try to take control? As I said, a lot of the times you have no choice. So you need to accept the fact that you are going to get times where you have no control over things that happened. In fact, probably 99% of the times, you can't really control what's happening. So you've got to accept that that's going to happen. And then take a step back and put it in context. Is the thing that's happening to you now, the drama in your life, going to be really important in a week, in a month, in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year? Are you going to look back in a decade and think of that one time that your boss were a bit funny with you, or your peers were playing politics and, or you got made redundant for what you think was no reason for yourself? Is it going to really be important to you? And if a lot of the answers are no, then you think, right, that's not really important then. That's where you can really reset and get yourself into a frame of mind where it isn't going to harm you. When you read some of the books, Viktor Frankl, he was a psychologist and a survivor of the terrible camps in Nazi Germany. So he was a Jewish person and went through the concentration camps. And he got through them with a mindset of he knew he couldn't affect what was going to happen to him. He didn't know if he was going to live or die. He could be unlucky one day and be on the wrong side of a guard, and that would have been it, or the wrong line, and that would have been it. He couldn't affect them. But what they couldn't take away was his mind and his spirit of life. And that's what happens in our lives. We're not, hopefully, ever going to be in the situation that he was in, but we can frame our situation to say, is this really a bigger drama as it is? Is this really going to be a career ender? A relationship ender? Or is it going to be something that will pass? This too shall pass is a rather famous line from the Stoics. So how do we look at that? Most of the time, you can't change it, but it's how you react to it, how you react to that adversity. And it's obviously a lot easier when you're outside of it. If I'm standing on the sidelines, a bit like when you watch a sports game, everyone who watches a sports game or has some idea, and some people who don't have any idea, will tell you, oh, the person should have done this. They should have passed here. They should have made that tackle. They should have hit that. Of course, that's a lot easier when you're watching it than doing it. So when you're in the middle of it, it does feel like it's the end. But what you can do is try to step away from it. A good technique is to do the pause. So if you imagine the video recorder, you probably won't remember video recorders, but if you remember a recording device that you will all know, and you can hit the pause button. Sometimes in the situation, you need to hit a pause button. So if you're in a business sense and things are going around you, and it's one of those moments where everything's chaos. The boss is on the phone. There's an issue on the line. There's something happening. A supplier hasn't supplied you. A customer isn't happy with the quality. You get to the point where you have to put pause because there'll be too much going on. You have to pause and literally stop for a second and reset where you're going. You can always feel you've been wronged. You feel you've got the back end of the stick. But what you need to do first is to pause. Take it easy. Take a breath. Step back. Take a view. Especially as a leader and a manager, you need to step back and take a bigger, wider view of what's happening. That's where you get real clarity of it. Is it important enough to do something about it immediately? Or is it something that you should be mulling over, taking the time? The more you get yourself in a spin, the more energy is lost. So mental energy is something you can lose. You start to lose that mental energy because you start thinking, I should have done this. I should have said that. I should have done that. We should have done this. That person. And all that energy gets lost. It ain't fixing the issue. It ain't fixing the problem. It's just giving an energy outlet, an actual drain. And you get to a point when you drain too much energy, you've got nothing left in there. That's when you have your problems. So what can you learn when you have an issue? First, as I say, stop, reflect, pause. Then, what can I affect? How can I affect that now? Some things you can affect. Obviously, you can move things around, you can make things happen. Some things you can't. And you have to wait and think, right, I can't affect that now. I'm going to have to let it go. And these are the systems you can use in your head. What can I affect now, which is urgent and important, and what am I going to have to wait? What can I delegate to someone else to do? If you're a manager and leader, you're going to be able to delegate that responsibility to somebody else. You might still be accountable for the outcomes, but the responsibility, you can give that to someone else, get that done. And of course, after the major drama has happened, you need to reflect. What can I learn? What can I do different next time? Was it me? And that's an honest question you need to ask. If something's gone really wrong at work and you found yourself having to, for instance, have a leave a business for something you didn't think was an issue or something you didn't think you did wrong, you need to step away when the dust has settled and reflect and say, actually, was that me? Was that me that caused that? What actions did I do or not do that led to that? What could I have done differently? Not in a mulling over, oh, I want to get revenge, but in a thing of what happens next? Because you've got to build that next stage. So you reflect and then you build a plan. You build that plan to say, next time I'm in this situation, this is what I'm going to do. Next time this happens, this is what I'm going to do. And then when you get to the next point, because as I said, this too will pass, you will be in the next area. You then need to reflect and say, what can I do differently? What would my next moves be if that situation happens? We are very much bred on learning from errors and learning from mistakes, if you like, and also learning from good things. Don't make this a negative journey. If something's gone really well, what can I learn from that? How can I do something different next time with it? And that's how you push forward in your career and at home. There may be points where you have to cut your losses and leave it, but a lot of times you can recover relationships, you can recover a situation at work, you can recover a customer's thoughts about you and your service or your business. Everything can be recovered if you take the time to reflect, learn, and build a plan for the future. As ever, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject, so you can email at managermattpodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave comments. I'll pick those comments up on here. You can, as I have said before, please subscribe to the show. If you've seen it for the first time on YouTube, get a chance to subscribe, it'd be brilliant. And as ever, I'd love to get your feedback on what's working or what's not working. If you want to click on some of the links that are going to show up in a second around me, then there's more videos on here. There's also some videos, as I've said, on my new show, which is MMN Lean Business Improvement Show, which are focusing around lean. But anyway, I hope to see you in the next episode. But for now, this is it from Manager Matt, and goodbye.